Okay, so when an object falls, then there are two possibilities. Suppose when an object falls from a certain height, then we have two different possibilities. Suppose the first possibility is whether the object is falling, and when it is falling, is there any air, like air is present or not, whether the air is there or it's a vacuum. So we have two different cases. The first case is when air is present. In the presence of air, okay, okay, the second thing is in the absence of air. Okay, so suppose this is an object which falls from a certain height. When it falls, like in downward direction, now its velocity is affected if there is air. Suppose if there is air, then this air will have resistive influence on this object. So its downward motion is affected by the air resistance, and air resistance is also called drag force or drag friction or air friction or viscous drag, whatever you call it. Okay, now suppose you have one object like this and the other object is like this. So two objects are there. In the presence of air. Now when these objects will collide the earth's surface, when these objects will reach the earth's surface, they will not reach simultaneously, or they will not reach at the same time, but there would be a difference. Like in case of Galileo, we know that both the object will reach the earth's surface at the same time, but I think so, pretty sure that this object will reach earlier and this object will reach later. And the reason is the surface area of sphere is less and the surface area of this cuboid is large. This cuboid will have large face which would be in contact with the earth resistance, whereas the sphere has a small region in front of air to in front of air and it experiences less friction force. Less friction force means its velocity is less influenced by the air friction. When there is a large surface area, like cuboid is comparatively have like cuboid have comparatively large surface area as compared to other objects, so it will experience more air friction, this object, so that's why its speed is more influenced, its velocity is more affected, and that's why it would reach later. Okay, suppose the second case, when there is an absence of air. When there is an absence of air, both sphere and cuboid will reach at the same time. Okay, suppose this is the finishing line and the sphere and rectangle reach at the same time. The reason is, when there is no air, or there is no air friction, or there is no air resistance, the object falls under the influence of gravity, and in case of gravity there would be same gravitational acceleration, means there would be a same increase in velocity, so that's why. Okay, so now next thing is, if the object is going, okay, one more thing is G. Okay, when the object is going in upper direction, the G would have negative value. Why G would be negative? Because as the object moves in upper direction, it is moving against the gravity, hence its speed or velocity decreases with time. If the object is going in downward direction, then we would consider it as positive. The value of G would be considered as positive, because when object moves in downward direction, there is an increase in velocity. Increase in velocity is called acceleration. Whereas in previous case